Hi, my name is Carrie Garrett. I'm from rockstarvoxuk, and I'm just going to do a very short blog just helping out all you guys who are going out touring this summer, just offering you some advice to actually help you maintain your voice and just trying to give you a few hints and tips just to really look after your voice as the festival season and just the general sort of outdoor gigs become more frequent. So, why is touring so difficult for singers? So why is this heavy load actually going to do the wrong things for your voice? Very, very simple. Your body actually is the thing that you perform with. You have an instrument here that you need to take good care of. You need physical stamina to maintain your living as a performer, and you don't have the luxury like your other musician friends in the band do, where like a bass player, a guitarist, a drummer, they can put their instruments down and then they can go off partying and talking and all that kind of thing, and it doesn't impact upon their performance the next day because their performance isn't relying upon this little thing here. So just things to be aware of. Please be aware of the fact you've got loads of late nights, you've got long journeys in cramped transport, sitting in the same position for long periods of time. There's more alcohol, there's more cigarettes, there's more chatting, there's more networking, promotional activities for your band. You're more likely to have poor sleep and poor conditions to actually sleep in. You know, you're on the floor of a tent or the floor of a van or wherever you end up. Also, there's quite poor diet involved in this kind of season as well. It's always from the back of a chicken truck or pizza or whatever it is. So please just be aware of what you're putting into your body, because like I said, your body's your instrument, and you need to think about when you're eating as well. Eating late can cause other problems with things like reflux, which can have an impact on the voice as well. So what to look out for? Okay, in your voice, there's lots of things that people say, oh, you've got to go to a speech therapist or go to an ENT consultant or whatever it is to actually find out what's wrong with your voice. Now, I would definitely say that if you've had a voice problem, so something has changed in your voice and it's impacting upon what you want to do with your voice, and it's been longer than 3 weeks, go to your GP and get a referral to an ENT doctor and possibly a voice team as well, a multidisciplinary voice team, which involves a speech therapist like myself. The kind of things to look out for in your voice are, does it sound different? Does it feel different? Is it rougher? Is it hoarser? There's my little cat here. Is it breathier? Does it break when you're trying to sing? Does it squeak unexpectedly and you can't control it? Little pitch breaks. Does it hurt, or does it tire and fade? And are these things out of the ordinary for yourself? You know your voice. If you're out there singing this summer, you will know what your healthy voice feels like and sounds like. So just take your own judgment as the key thing. So what do you do? What do you do if your voice changes? You could ignore it and hope it goes away on its own. You could try lots of remedies that you've heard about from other people, other singers, other people in the backstage areas, all that kind of thing. So uncertain sources, basically. Or you could go to a doctor or a vocal coach. So lots of options. Hopefully this will give you a little bit more information to help guide you. Don't ignore any pain signs. Don't ignore any signs of change. Basically, your body is beautifully designed just to let you know when something isn't quite right. The muscles surrounding the voice box are like any other muscles in the body, basically. And when we overexert ourselves, we get aches and pains, you know, when you've sort of been to the gym for the first time in a long time, and then in the morning, obviously, from doing all the squats, all your leg muscles are killing you. Obviously, the same thing happens with singing. You need to actually look after your voice and look after the muscles involved so that you don't get that kind of sensation. You can't run a marathon without warming up and regular practice, and the same thing is for when you up the vocal load that you have singing-wise as well. So just in a nutshell, the voice requires warming up and regular exercise to stay toned, flexible and in good condition. Every singer who's serious about their voice does need a vocal routine to actually help you maintain and develop and maintain a robust, reliable technique that will see you through the jobs that you have to do. Okay, so a little bit of advice in actually what should you do if you do notice a difference. Okay, you could go to a vocal coach or a doctor and all that, but you're in the middle of a 3-week tour, for example, across the UK and popping into Europe or whatever it is. Okay, so you need to try to rest your voice for short periods if it feels strained. No humming, no talking, nothing. Nada. You want to actually be absolutely silent. Voice rest means do not use your voice, okay? You could inhale some steam to actually moisten the vocal folds and get because if you think about it, steam is a gaseous form of water that's going directly. You're inhaling it, you're breathing it past your vocal folds and just helping to lubricate and moisturize, as we say, those vocal folds. Keep them nice and flexible, because they do need to be very flexible for actually working effectively. The other thing that steam can help is if you possibly are a hay fever sufferer, it can help to break up mucus and help to sort of decongest yourself. So the other thing to do is you need to be actually hydrating yourself, what we call systemically. So your system, your body system needs to have water, hydration going into it to actually replenish your cells and replenish the moisture that you have in your body and working for your muscles and everything, okay? Water and oxygen, always the way forward with the voice. So try drinking non-alcoholic, non-sugary, non-caffeinated drinks, for example, water. Basically, these things, oh, my cat's meowing again. Basically, these little things actually, they can hydrate you. That's what you need. Try to maintain good posture while you're travelling. If you're all scrunched up and into the corner of a chair and things, you're not going to be any good because you're creating tensions all over yourself. So really try to sort of sit well, have supportive cushions if you know you've got really long journeys, all that kind of thing. The other thing I would say is stretch out when you get to service stations. Don't stay on the vehicle. Get out, you know, have a good stretch, get your body going again, really energising. And do some deep breathing as well, so sort of getting everything really, really going. Try to get some sleep and some relaxation time in there as well. I would always recommend vocal warm-ups and vocal cool-downs. And I think really you need to see a singing teacher or vocal coach or a speech therapist to get some really good ideas for what to do warming up. I might show you a little bit at the end of this. A key thing which actually causes people to strain is obviously amplification on stage. So if you can get as much control as you can about getting the music coming back to you and getting your own voice coming back to you, that's the better. You don't want to be over singing, you don't want to be over pushing and losing your voice. The other thing as well is when you are out and about and chatting, if you've got a little bit of a tired voice, you know, a little bit strained, a little bit of hoarseness, whatever it is, if you have to keep speaking, try to speak to people when the background level is down. So you take them outside, you take them into a quieter area of wherever you are and try to speak to them there rather than just trying to push through, you know, the pain. That won't work. You're more likely to do longer term damage and take longer to recover. So, general things for try to avoid dehydrating and irritating things like smoke, fumes, caffeine, dry air, excessive alcohol, all that kind of thing. The reason is purely because you've got inside your voice box two little vocal folds which come together, and then as the air comes up from underneath them, they get pushed apart and they go into a little wave like that. And basically they're lovely and fluid, and when they're moisturised, when they're lubricated, they actually vibrate very well. They have a wave going through them which vibrates very well. Now if you have lots of irritating, drying things, the way I like to put this is imagine some slugs, okay, little fat slugs who are, you know, moisturised. They're absolutely fine at moving around. They can move around as best they can. But then you put them out in the sun for a week they're going to dry up, they're going to get stiffer, it's not going to work as easily, and actually what happens is these little vocal folds basically dry up, and when they dry up you then find that other muscles from outside the voice come in and try to actually compensate for that and try to get your vocal folds together, because your brain's still going, I want to make that sound that I normally make, and so the body's going, oh come on, we're going to make that sound in whatever way we can, so it tries to compensate, and then these muscles come into play, and it's just not good. Basically you're developing bad technique, and then it's not good for your voice. Okay, try to avoid throat clearing and frequent coughing. The best thing to do is try a really hard swallow, so you do a quick sniff and a hard swallow, so you do, just to try and actually relieve that cough. It's not good to keep coughing, because basically those little vocal folds get banged together really, really hard, or they get rubbed together, and it's like anything. If someone was tapping on your arm for a long time, you get more sensitive, and same for your vocal folds. If you keep coughing, the area is going to get more and more sensitive, and actually you're going to need to cough more frequently. It's a vicious circle, and you don't want to be coughing more frequently. Okay. Try to avoid shouting, cheering, or that kind of thing. Okay, you're doing a job there. You're a singer. You need to look after your voice, and try to avoid talking over loud music as well. So, what you can actually do to help yourself avoid the problems, you need to keep in check the amount of tension you create when you're singing. A lot of problems occur for singers where they push too much, they push the breath too much, or squeeze the wrong things in and around the throat to create the sound they're trying to make. It's inadequate. It's basically what they call inadequate technique. It won't cut it. And more often than not, it comes from poor breath technique for singing. Say hello to my cat. Hi. And you know, you can get away with inadequate technique for a length of time, but if you've upped the amount of gigs you're doing over the summer, then this inadequate technique is being used again and again and again, and there's no recovery time in between. And actually, that's why your voice fails, because you've always had the inadequate technique, but it's been okay because you've had time to recover in the past. More frequent gigs mean there's no recovery time, and actually it's affecting your voice more. So the effect overall seems bigger, and your voice flakes out basically. Try to get yourself a really good vocal coach or singing tutor who can actually sort out your breathing for singing and encourage techniques for reducing tension and actually freeing your voice up. Okay, you need a really, really good use of your body for singing in order to actually make sure it's the most effective it can be. So I know that some of you, just as a side point, I know that some of you like making gravelly, sort of gritty sounds and things. Now, I like that kind of music. I like that kind of vocal technique as well. I don't do it personally. I can't, that's not my voice. But the distortion you put on your voice as an effect should not be wrecking your vocal folds. Your vocal folds are down here, and actually where you should be making distorted sounds is higher up above where those little tiny vocal folds are. And again, I think you need, if you're not sure about how you're producing a sound, check out some of the training programs that are out there currently. There's a really good one by 21st Century Singer on distortion, and also Complete Vocal Technique. So just Google those, and you can have a little look about what to do for distortion. You'll probably find you need to go right back to basics with your singing and your voice production before you can do distortion healthily, but it is worth having a look into it. Okay, so what should your warm-up involve then? Okay, I'll do a little bit of the warming up stuff for you. You've got to think of how a workout video goes. You put it on, you got your spandex on or whatever it is, and you've got to think there's sections. There's a little bit of mild exercise, some stretches, maybe some more mild exercise, and then gradually the intensity builds and you build up into the high intensity part, which for you as singers I'm equating to the gig and the performances themselves. And then afterwards you would actually cool down gradually and just, you know, stretch your muscles out again and put them back to the position that they are in neutral as such, okay? Same thing for your voice. You need to do the same thing. Like I said, it's a muscular system. It's not some alien thing. We all take our voices for granted, and it's just like if you were going for a run, like I said before. So a good warm-up should not be too long. And remember, the moderate into high intensity bit is the gig and the performances. So especially if you've got a lot of gigs coming up, you don't want to be warming up for hours on end, because you're going to use all your energy, and you need your energy. So there's no hard and fast rules. I've got a little list of things that I like to do in a warm-up routine, and then you can just add to it. You know, I like to share these things. So basically, I like people to release tension in the back, in the abdomen, in the head and neck, in your jaw, in your tongue, and in your throat as well. Now there are lots of exercises. I would recommend doing what we call head and neck stretches, things like chewing, yawning, all those kind of things. I'll do another blog where I do a warm-up, but basically it's just anything which can release muscular tension. You want to be really quite chilled out. I remember going to a workshop once, and one of the presenters had a great way of putting it, which was the more gormless you look, the better. So singers, you've got to look gormless as you're actually warming up. Oh, just really releasing everything. So you want to wake up your breathing apparatus to energize your body and prepare for the gig. So you can do some deep breathing, some grounding yourself to the floor, making sure you're actually breathing low and wide into your back and all that kind of thing. Again, this isn't a tutorial blog. This is just me telling you the kind of areas you should be warming up. The next thing that you should be doing is humming gently. So just a little bit of and relaxing your shoulders, relaxing your face, your jaw and your tongue throughout. Then you can move that little hum around. So you can do it in a siren. Sorry, my cat's here again. You can do a little siren. Let me just pick her up. Come here. To gently stretch the vocal folds and the muscles surrounding the voice box. So you can do something like things like that, just to really sort of gently stretch out all the muscles and warm everything up. And then add anything else you like to do. Some singers like to jump around or jog on the spot, some stretches, maybe do some of the louder sections, sing through a verse and a chorus of a song. The list goes on. I mean, you would have all picked things up from the experiences you've had in life. So just do what you need to do, but remember, keep it short and sweet. You need to relax tension, you need to energize yourself and get the breath going, and you need to warm up the vocal folds and all the muscles so they're actually flexible and warmed up, literally like the start of a workout video. Only you know what to do to psych yourself up for a performance. Just make sure you give yourself time before you go on stage to actually get in the zone before you start singing. Now my recommendation for cooling down is just do some gentle descending humming. So and sometimes I like to use a little lip bubble as well. So and it just gets your voice back into what we call the neutral position. Some final suggestions then to help you out over the intense summer season or rocking out. If you have a lot of gigs and you are doing covers, for example, if you're a function band person, maybe I would suggest, if something's really challenging you and you have that inadequate technique that I was talking about before, I'm not saying poor, it's inadequate. It's inadequate for the job you're doing. It doesn't mean you're a bad singer, it just means you need a little help to work out what you need to do better. One suggestion I have is drop the keys of songs and see if the band can play just a little bit lower. If you've got a good belt, you know, and it's just overreaching, try to drop the key. You could alter tough lines and do something else musically if certain sections are a little bit difficult, or a little bit difficult to reproduce gig after gig after gig. And also, because we need our body to work effectively. If you really suffer from performance anxiety and from nerves, get some help dealing with them. Okay, singing is a really physical task, and it's a mental task as well, and you really need to be in the right zone for actually reproducing your performances night after night. Okay, so and my last thing, if you're a person who gets into difficulty with your voice time after time after time, stop blaming it on everything and everyone around you and the situation, and this didn't happen and that didn't happen, and stop putting it on other things. For there to be a change in your voice, you need to make a change. You need to do something different, and only you manage your voice. Only you tell your voice what to do. So take control and start making some changes. Thanks a lot for listening. Bye.